And welcome back to Canadian Guns. Today we're going to be looking at this. This is being offered by Pristine Actions. Now there comes a time in every gun owner's life that they decide they need to build a custom rifle out of a custom action. Now it's not so far that existing factories that sell rifles are not enough, but rather you want more of either more features, more precision, or simply that smooth sound and feeling that puts a smile on your face from a custom action every time you run the bull. Now, don't get me wrong, Bagheera, CZ, Tikka, and most recently Springfield Armory have certainly released firearms with smooth feeling actions, but there's more on the other side of the scale. You have high-end and custom gun builders who put together rifles with their own actions, like say Accuracy International and others. These rifles will typically start at $3,000 and go up from there. This then represents an opportunity for custom action makers and other companies to make high quality actions with precision fit and features typically not found on mass-produced rifles. So we did a video at SHOT Show with Pristine Actions, which you can find in the link in the description box below. We found out through them about a new rifle kit that they were offering with Heller barrels. So to start, we're going to take a closer look at this rifle and discuss the reasons why you would want to even consider a rifle kit like this, especially for your next precision rifle. When you're a gun manufacturer, you have a lot of things to worry about. You need to design a product with features that would attract knowledgeable customers, yet it's cheap enough to produce to stay competitive and still generate enough income once dealers and distributors bring it to market. This reality most often leads to products that are built for reliability rather than absolute precision. However, if you have a company that can focus their entire attention on that goal, then you have a winning combination. This is what Pristine Actions was founded on and focused on. And this is what they've produced. So Pristine Actions, like the majority of custom actions today, would be considered a Remington style action. So let's start with what we mean by a Remington style action. It's meant to be a replacement for a Remington 700 by having the same external footprint and then stuffing unique features inside of it. What this means is that you can use this action with a Remington 700 triggers and most aftermarket stocks and chassis. This is important because once you go down that rabbit hole, it's not uncommon for gun owners to swap out chassis, triggers, barrels, and other components. With this setup as a kit, Pristine is not forcing gun owners into spending more money than what they must. Had they gone with a custom footprint that requires you to get, like a custom stock, a custom made barrel, and all that kind of stuff. This comes as a ready-to-go rifle. Now let's get out to the range and see how it shoots. And don't forget to like and subscribe today. And we're back. So this video, we're using the Sunway Photo T4040CS hunting tripod. If you're looking for a great carbon fiber tripod for either hunting or PRS style shooting, this would be the one. You can pick these up at either CDN Precision in Canada or Sunway Photo themselves. There will be a couple links in the description box below with a couple discount codes. Now let's get back to the review. So how do we do? Let's go from the worst and go to the best. The Hornady 140 grain ELD match rounds, that was a .685 grouping. The Nosler 140 grain, that was a .682 grouping. The Winchester 140 grain, that was a .6 .38 grouping. The Federal Fusion 140 grain, that was a .517. The Federal 140 grain Burger rounds, now that was a .404. Then the best for last, the Federal 143 grain ELDX rounds. Now that's just a hunting round. That was a .394. Just amazing, especially for a hunting round. So over 6 different types of box ammunition, it averaged a .553 at 100 yards. That's pretty damn impressive. Now the action is machined from one piece of solid pre-hardened 416 stainless steel. By starting out with a rod, you remove less material and arrive at the final shape. Thereby, you're able to reduce cost. The additional benefit of cylindrical shapes is that they are able to be better managed for stress, thereby actually spreading it more equally throughout. As a result of this, the recoil lug and the scope base are not built into the receiver, and the rail is made separately from the action. So no other rail will fit onto this action, but it is a 20 MOA rail, which is a good thing. So starting at the back, Pristine designs the action to have a thicker tang and a thicker rear action screw threads. This will help avoid action bending and increase overall strength. On the rear, you also have a beefier bolt release and bolt stop, which will make it easier to remove and replace the bolt, as well as remain stronger for when you're shooting slightly hotter loads. On the bottom, you have 2 pins that will hold your Trigger Tech primary trigger in place. So there is no fancy trigger hanger systems here, which you'll find on other actions. However, this also means that you'll be able to have better chassis compatibility, as not every stock and chassis will have the clearances built in for the hanger systems. Now moving on to the front of the Pristine action, despite being a Remington footprint, they're threaded for Savage small shank prefix, which means you do have a lot more different options when it comes to barrels. But this kit comes with a Heller barrel. Now let's look inside. We definitely see something quite unique with these actions. You have a 6-lug design on the bull. We have 2 rows of 3 lugs each. We still have a 90-degree bolt throw. However, now the forces are spread onto the 6 lugs rather than 2 lugs that we find in Remingtons and many other actions. As per Pristine, this will give you unmatched strength and security. So looking at the bolt, we also find the bolt body is not a one-piece design. We have a floating bolt head. The beauty of the action is that if you want to switch calibers from, say, 6.5 Creedmoor to 223, all you really have to do is swap out the bolt head and the barrel, and you're off to the races again, without actually having to switch out the entire action. Next is the dual ejectors. Dual ejectors will help provide more consistent and powerful extraction, and in turn, the reliability that you need out in the field and demand while you're out in the match. We also have a Seiko style extractor here, which is bigger than your standard extractor, which means it's far less likely to fail on extraction. Now back to the bolt. We do have a shroud and bolt handle. Comes with a pretty nice bolt knob. Putting it all together is where the magic happens, and the big reason why you're going to be looking for a custom action. With its coating and tight tolerances, we have a very smooth cycling action, and that's what you're going to be wanting from an action as unique as this. It does have a unique rolling cock piece on it. It creates a smooth, light bolt lift, which is around 4 pounds, and super smooth, fulfilling bolt close, and it lock itself. If you ever shot a Trigger Tech trigger, now imagine that on a bolt close. It's just super smooth and really, really nice. And this is really awesome when you action the rifle. But it only gets better. So the trigger that comes with this kit is a Trigger Tech primary trigger. The pull weight is about 1.5 pounds to 4 pounds. And it breaks perfectly. It's got no creep on it whatsoever. The gun is safe, by the way. I have this set right at 4 pounds. This is crazy when you think of it, but I have yet to set the trigger on this to any lighter. And it's right there. There's no creep, there's no lag to the trigger whatsoever. It's right there. Totally amazing. I just love the Trigger Tech triggers. Now the safety on this is also very nice. It's right here on the side. It's just a standard safety. You know, you can still lift up on it. It's not going to go on it anywhere. It's just 2-position. Allows you to go. Really, really nice. I like that more than a 3-position safety myself. Next, the barrel. So the barrel is a Heller barrel. It's an EV5 semi-bull button rifle style 1 1/8-inch twist 22-inch barrel. Now it does come with one of their factory 6-port brakes on it, but you can get a different muzzle brake if you want for one of these rifles. Now I talked to Pristine Actions at SHOT Show when I went this year. They told me the rifle they had on display had 4,200 rounds through the barrel and still hadn't cleaned it with a bore brush. Now I thought they were talking nonsense and they're just pulling my leg on that one. But they said no, they haven't done anything with it and they're still shooting it. Now this is a 22-inch barrel. I asked him about, you know, do you need a 24 or 26 to shoot like long range with? And they said nope, not at all. The way they designed their barrel, a 22-inch barrel will do the job, and most times they tell people not to buy anything but a 22-inch barrel. Now I really didn't believe that until I started shooting this barrel. The way they've made it, it's still kind of a mystery to me, but so far I haven't run a brush down through it. I've only patched it and cleaned it that way with a little bit of oil. This thing is absolutely nuts. Now getting back to the muzzle brake, if you don't like it, you want something different from Heller Arms themselves, you can also always ask Pristine to change up the muzzle brake for you. But that's going to change up the price a little bit more. Me, I think I'm going to change it to a Spearhead brake afterwards. I like Spearhead muzzle brakes. I've used them before. I have them on a couple of the rifles, so I'll probably use the Spearhead muzzle brake. Now you can buy the barreled action straight from Heller Arms themselves. They sell for around $1,700 US, but then you don't get the option of the entire kit. You can get different barrel lengths if you want, but the price is going to increase. So this is an interesting option. The other thing to remember too is that this rifle only comes in 2 options, 6.5 Creedmoor and 308 version. Also, Pristine will be selling the barreled action by itself if you really want to. So, you know, it might be a little cheaper than that than buying the entire kit. Next, the chassis. So the chassis options, you can get either the MDT XRS chassis like this one, comes in black. I think you can get it also in Coyote Tan. I'm not sure. You're going to have to ask Pristine about that one. Or you can get the Oryx chassis. Only 2 options. But if you want, you can always switch out the chassis later on down the road if you wish. So I really like the XRS chassis. It works for myself and for the style that I shoot. It's extremely comfortable. You have the ability to change the length of pull on it and the comb height. And you can change the grip on it too, from an angled grip to more vertical grip, which kind of works for this rifle. So these rifles sell for around $3,000 Canadian as a kit. You won't find them on their website, but if you contact them, they'll put one of these together for you. Or you can go to Heller Arms and you can buy one of their barreled actions from them, which is very cool. Now, right now, they're working on their long action, say like their 7mm Remington mags, things like that. So yeah, you're not going to be able to find these unless you contact them yourself. Now, what do I think in the end? I think Pristine, by making this rifle kit, which in the box, you get the barreled action, you get the MDT chassis kit, you get the Timney trigger kit, you get the pins to set the trigger onto the barrel action with. I think they made something that's really cool, that's really nice, that hasn't really been done before on the market. Now, yes, this only comes in 6.5 Creedmoor or in 308. There may be more options down the road. I don't know. Pristine hasn't said anything yet about it, but I'm hoping they do some more afterwards. It certainly would be a welcome addition to the custom market. Now, they have the right formula, added some unique features, and gave gun owners a really beautiful rifle that certainly stands up, especially for my expectations, while giving the chance for gun owners to build their own custom rifle right out of the box. A very interesting idea. They feature something at a price that if you went out and had to build one yourself, it would cost a lot more. especially by the time you add, say, a barrel, a stock, and a trigger. This way you have a custom bolt action rifle for around $3,000 Canadian. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did so, please hit the like button and the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time, Canadian Guns. Bye for now.